Welcome to today's roundtable session titled Improving Profitability Through Better Returns Management, powered by Mirza. I'll now request all the speakers to first introduce themselves, please.
Hello. Hi, I'm Tapo. I'm part of Reliance Retail's fashion world. So we have recently scaled up in the last 1 year. We have opened almost 70 stores, and these are mostly targeted to the mass segment.
Hi, I'm Ali Asgar from Biox India. We are a professional hair care brand which has been launched in Jan recently.
Hi, good evening, everyone. This is Huzaifa. I head Leah Levitt India, which is a hair care brand from US and India, and more into B2B segment, professional salon segment.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sangram Samantray, and I head brand communications for Reliance Trends. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I'm Chaitanya. I head marketing for Aston Miller Shoes. We retail brands like Bugatti, TT Bhagat and New Beat.
Hi, good afternoon all. I'm Shyam. I'm co-founder and the CEO of Brand Studio Lifestyle. We have brand like Highlander and the Tokyo Talkies, which we market.
Hey, hi everyone, I'm Alok, co-founder of Berrylush, and we are into women fast fashion.
Hi everyone, good afternoon. I'm Ketan from Modenik Lifestyle. We are a house of brands in the essential wear space. The brands that we carry are Enamor, Dixie Scott, and licensed with Levi's.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Rishi Suri, and I'm Business Development Director for LYCRA for South Asia. LYCRA is a fiber brand. We are into textile value chain, and we have been there for last 68 years. And yeah, I'm representing them. I'm based in Hong Kong, but I'm here for this specific event. Thank you.
Hi, this is Veena. I'm founder of Monrow Shoes and Bags. Our intent is to make 10,000 steps easy to do in the day. So we make shoes more comfortable while keeping them trendy.
Hi, myself Shahroz Mirza. I'm a business head of Meena Bazaar, a 50-year-old brand, a #1 ethnic brand in India for the women. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Shivani. I'm the co-founder of Uptownie, which is a mass premium women's wear brand.
Hi, good evening. I'm Saurabh Jhingan. I'm the co-founder of Latin Quarters. We're a women's western wear brand. Glad to be here.
Thank you for the introduction, everyone. I would now request Mr. Ajay Rao, founder and CEO, Mirza, to take over from here.
Yeah, hi, good evening, everyone. Really a pleasure to have such an esteemed audience here today. So the whole purpose of today's session is not about us, but it's about you guys. This is a problem that is a major pain point for the fashion industry, and returns handling can make the difference between a profitable P&L and a loss-making P&L. So the whole idea was to get stalwarts like you in the room. I'm not going to do any work. You all are the ones who are going to be doing all the heavy lifting today. The idea is to basically share the collective experiences that we have, the best practices that we are currently following, so that we're able to lift the industry as a whole. And so that's the whole objective, and I'll sort of walk you through the agenda. Before that, I'd just like to take a couple of minutes just to give you a brief about Mirza, because I have to do that. So I'm not going to take more than 3-4 minutes to do that, and then we'll proceed. Yeah, we'll play the video once. Great. So this, from this video, you can see that one of our main focus verticals is fashion. So I'll just quickly give you a 2-minute overview of the company, and then we can move forward. So Emisa is purely a consumer brand focused 3PL. We only work with consumer brands. We've just recently also just concluded our Series C raise. We have been around for a long time. We were one of the first few companies that actually sort of saw the need for B2C and D2C fulfillment in this space, because most of the time you had the incumbent players who were more from a traditional B2B background. There was nobody really with specialized focused on consumer and for D2C, and that's kind of where we started our journey in 2016. These are the verticals we serve, but our two largest verticals would be fashion and beauty. In terms of network, we are present across over 11 cities. We have about 24 plus warehouses. We service today over 150 brands across fashion, beauty, and all of these categories. We are the largest operator today for B2C, D2C. We process over 4.5 million orders a month out of our facilities for consumer brands. This is not counting B2B, this is purely on the B2C side. And so in terms of our services, like you saw in the video very quickly, we sort of provide the entire range of 3PL services, right from the warehousing, fulfillment, last mile, packaging solutions, all of that. We're a full stack service provider. We have our own tech stack. We've built specialized tech around video management systems, claim management, all of that. And these are some of the brands we serve today. So Soul Store, Rare Rabbit, Off Duty, Freakins, all of these are the brands that we work with in the D2C space. Besides this, we work with a lot of traditional brands as well. So this is a quick overview. Now we'll dump into the main topic. So the objective is, we have 4 objectives today, and we have to sort of be honest on time, because it's very critical that we, finally end of the time, come out with a proper outcome for each of you. Whatever we discuss, we're going to summarize all of it, make a proper document, and share it with you all, so that whatever knowledge is discussed and shared here comes back to you. So we have primarily 4 objectives. So the prime objective is about how do you improve profitability through better returns management. And basically, if you look at it, there are 3 levers only that you have to play with. One is, how quickly are you able to get your inventory, which is on its return leg, be it an RTO or a customer return, how quickly can you get that back into the warehouse and back onto the shelf? That's one lever. Second lever is, whatever returns are coming back, which is damaged, which needs work, how much of that can you salvage? How much of that can you convert back into good inventory and get back on the shelf in the shortest possible time? That's the second lever you have. The third lever you have is around claims. How do you ensure that you get the maximum in terms of your claim settlement from the marketplaces or the couriers? Outside of this, we couldn't think of a fourth lever. If there is somebody who has a fourth lever, we can talk about that. But the idea now is, we want to talk about these 3 levers. And finally, what's in it for Emisa, right? I mean, finally, through this discussion, we'll share ideas. Each of you will sort of learn from it. But from us, from our point of view, what we want to take away is finally get from you all certain insights in terms of specific services or pain points which you think as Emisa can sort of, as a 3PL, sort of bring to the table. Maybe things you all are doing internally, maybe things you said, I wish somebody could do this for me, right? So that is what we want to sort of, as a culmination of these 3 points, come out with 3 or 4 things that Emisa can take back and say that, look, these are services or products that we can work on and come back to you all later to solve your pain points. So that's the objective. It's very simple, very straightforward, and the whole key is to keep the time, because we don't have a lot of time. We're going to keep about 7 to 8 minutes to talk about each topic, and then we will move to the next one. Yeah. So the first topic is about on how to reduce turnaround time for returns to get them back to shelf. So we'd like to go around the room and maybe just have you all share, sort of insights in terms of what you all are doing, what are the metrics you all are tracking, how are you all sort of trying to get product back in faster back into your warehouse. Where is the largest time lost? Is it the courier waiting for the return? What are the different pockets of opportunity? How have you all solved for that? Share that collective knowledge here. So that's the first topic. So I'd love to open up the floor. Yeah. You have an extra mic? Shyam, you're only looking at the P&L, yeah? So.
That's part of the business.
Yeah, exactly. But you know enough, yeah. Yeah. Go ahead, please. Yeah.
I think in our case, for Monrow 2024, our DTC business scaled a lot. Like we grew around 250% just in the single year. And I think the first point itself, let's say the point A is the consumer's house and point B is the warehouse. We realized the moment we used a shipping aggregator, which could recommend the most efficient shipping partner to pick it back. Because a lot of times there are such inefficient shipping partner which you will think I will use, and they'll be like false query, or customer will say, nahi, wo pick up karne aaya tha, nahi aaya, so that's wastage of time. Second, we also realized by opening multiple warehouses across India, it became a lot easier for us to, like the distance between point A and point B reduced. All Mumbai returns were going to Mumbai warehouse, right? So I think these were top two learnings of our efficient shipping partner to pick up back, and localized warehouses in the highest demand zone. So reduce the distance itself. Yeah, these were top two learnings.
Excellent. Anybody else? Yeah. You can just pass that.
So we also have a brand called Vishuddh, which is Indian ethnic wear, apart from Highlander, which is more of a men's casual wear brand, and Tokyo Talkies, which is Western wear. So in the ethnic wear, we used to sell a lot of, product which is salwar, kurta, and dupatta. It's a pack of 3. Normally what happens, what we realize that sometimes that customers are getting back only 2 units, and the dupatta is missing, sometimes the salwar is missing, and sometimes intentional, sometimes non-intentional, we really don't know.
Right.
And the guy who is doing the inward in the warehouse, he will just scan the code and it just got inwarded without knowing that whether all the 3 pieces has come back to us or not. So it was getting very difficult when we started doing an audit. Then what we realized that let's start monitoring it. So what we have done that on our all the style code, the moment a SKD will come for the return, on the screen, I asked my IT team to do something there so that they should know that it's a 3 units. Right. Or if it is a cord sets, it's a 2 units. In Tokyo Talkies, we sell a lot of cord sets. Correct. So then the IT team has put some 3 words like this somewhere in the corner. I said, nothing doing. You put half of the screen saying 3 or the 2, because right. The guy who is shoving there in the warehouse, first of all that he has to read it loud, like he should know looking at the screen quickly that it's a 3 unit, right. And he's not such a literate guy, so you have to, so that we implemented. Of course, doing and kind of having a photo shoot verification and all those is I think is already there. Right. They look at the style, they look at the photo shoot, but at the same time that 3 comes big. So correct. He knows that it is a 3 sets. Correct. And it's this big 3 written comes to the screen. Correct. Looking at the, the kind of a guy who is doing it, right? So, and it has brought lot of, in terms of the corrections in the system. And when we started returning it back, like we also work with a lot of partners. And as you know that we sell almost 1 lakh units every day. So when I say 1 lakh units every day, we get 30,000 returns every day. Because 30% is the returns what we are doing. Right. So that's a huge chunk of the business, like, on the returns also happens every day. So a lot of things in terms of how you can reduce your turnaround time and all that. This was a part of that quickly we should identify it. And also we have put all the high definition camera, because once you identified that this is a 3-piece and it has come as a 2 pieces, you have to send it back to your partner saying, this is, I'm not going to take it. So what is the proof? That how you can prove it, that of course then we have put all the high definition cameras and everything, and anything which comes as in 1-piece shot or a dupatta missing, our system, we have made a system like that video, the video link got saved immediately, and when we send back the returns back to the partners, we send with the links saying that you can see it, that this is how it has come, and it has brought a lot of efficiency in our system, and now it is perfectly like almost all right. So
that's an excellent insight. Yeah. Also, maybe Shyam, maybe I don't know whether you can talk about this. For anyone who's dealing largely with marketplaces, how long does it take for your returns initiated to get back? Are there any solutions around getting the product? Because otherwise, there's a lot of product. Almost if it's 30% returns, at 30% your inventory is in transit, literally. Any solutions around this? Any solves around this?
So for marketplace, we don't have control over that at all, right? So, but according to the data, what we have seen is that within 30 days, around 80 to 85% of the products are returned, which is in the warehouse, and from the date of initiation of return, and rest around 10% comes the next month. Then there are 5% products which can go to even 120, 150 days, right? But as per the SPF claim, whatever the policy is, if a product is initiated, like return is initiated, and if we don't receive it within 120 days, so we can raise a SPF claim, right? Now, this is something that needs to be tracked. Now, when we were, so we are means we started our own warehousing, right? So we are still doing it from our own warehouse. So whatever happens, we learn and then we implement it. So it was never tracked, like when was it initiated and when we're receiving it. Then around 2 years back, we started, recording that. And based on that, we are able to do SPF claims. Or else, if the window is crossed, like if it crosses, that 120 days crosses, even if you don't receive it, you cannot claim it. Right? And that was in the range of 2 to 3% of the returns.
So you've implemented strong tracking. So you're not able to make it faster, but you're able to track it better.
Yeah, there is no control at all on the
speed,
return speed.
speed of that. Okay.
That is not possible.
Yeah.
We need some quick commerce in returns.
I had a related question actually. So on our D2C, which is where we do the bulk of our sales now, the returns process is slow. We use a shipping aggregator. We use ShipRocket at the moment. But every time a return comes back from the customer, it takes 1 or 2 days, and it would be ideal if it was picked up on the same day. But it takes 1 or 2 days, and then it takes about 10 days for that product to come back. And a faster service is at such a premium that given the ASP of the product, it just doesn't make sense. So that's a big pain point we face because we are unable to process the return for the customer. And nobody in this day and age really wants to understand that return shipping is going to take 10 days because forward shipping takes 2 days or 3 days. So I was just wondering what the benchmark is sort of for other people in the room about how fast they are able to get it back. And whether net it makes sense to give the customer store credit or cashback or whatever as soon as you pick it up. We don't do it at the moment because the courier just does, even if you do a QC return, the courier will just check, do a cursory check to make sure it's the same item, but they will not even check, they will do no checks for the stains, quality, whether it's been worn. People often, will buy to wear once and then return, so they don't solve for any of those issues. So on either question, if people had inputs about how they handle it, then that would be helpful.
So like from a timeline point of view, we don't have a solve on that, right? Because if you are using Surface, anything between 3 to 10 days is an average, right? But from when do you initiate the refund? One thing that what we can do is basically there is a tag loop that we are using for Myntra right now, right? If you are selling in Myntra, you must be aware that you have to use the tag loop, right? So tag loop is basically a visible tag which is outside the product, right? And returns will not be accepted if that is, like either cut or removed, right? So the same thing can be implemented in D2C also, right? Like if you, means for the return to happen, so your partner, certain instructions can be given, right? Like if the return, if the tag loop is removed, then you cannot pick up the product, right? So that way, D2C also you can do, right?
Excellent suggestion, yeah. Really smart, yeah.
But not for shoes. Because if you're keeping your, like a pair tag, think from a consumer perspective, how am I going to try it? Right, so we tried it briefly.
You can put it on one leg, no? You can put it on one. You can put it on one, and then it's, yeah.
You can tag it on the laces hole or something like something. So means we started implementing it as a pilot run in our store, in our warehouse as well, putting this tag. And the moment that our partner is taking the return, and of course we know that only if you tag only, in that case you can take the other customers, genuine customers, suffer for a longer time. So we are processing refund then and there.
Yeah, we are also doing the same thing. We refund the moment the product is picked up. We refund, and so again, a temporary or like a in stage, what you can do is like rather than refunding the whole amount, right? What you can do is for that time period, means obviously it is a cumbersome thing, but for the time period till you receive it, it can be just as a store credit you give, right? Means so that at least the customer is happy that okay, I got the store credit, and then when the product is refunded, when the product is actually returned, then you can convert it into cash. Means
No. Excellent suggestions. I think we've got some great inputs here. So I think we can move to unless someone else wants to add something, we can,
You mentioned a couple of things which we are exploring, so I was just wondering. So one thing you mentioned is multiple warehousing, and the second thing you mentioned was, I forgot what the second thing you mentioned was. So anyway, on multiple warehousing, how do you...
Picking up efficient
Aggregators, correct. Okay, so I have a question on both of that. So in terms of multiple warehousing, since your inventory is now split up between those warehouses, how do you get or what type of forecasting are you doing to make sure that the correct inventory is lying at the correct warehouse, so that you don't have to then now, if something is lying in the west, which I now need in Calcutta, now there is more efficiency now if I'm not able to forecast it well. So what kind of tools, if anything, any insight there? And on the aggregation part, the challenge that we faced was, you can, let's say the variable is price. So I can figure out what is the best aggregator for that region for that price. But how do we build in the service part of it? Which now we're relying on the human part of it. Ki nahi, iska service wahan pe acha nahi hai, so we won't use this guy, even though he may be the cheapest option available for that region. So how do you kind of
I think since our DTC business is the largest, pin code sales analysis already gave us heat map on demand, and hence. No, but it's not here. They're recording. Oh, they're recording it. Yeah. So the heat map gave us a sense on where our warehouse should be, and if we do that 80-20 principle, that 80% of my demand needs to be captured. Now there could be an emerging demand coming from one location which I might not, but I'm okay to let go of that. So I think as long as we do 80% pretty fairly well. The second thing which you asked is how do you keep assessing efficiency of a partner? I think quarterly doing a logistics partner deep dive to say that which logistics partner takes the longest period to pick up, just eliminate them, right? Because I think they're the waste, like their people don't go, they make false attempt.
It's like fire the bottom 10%. So
if you just remove that garbage, there'll be only 2 players on top, right? Like Ecom Express, like there are only 1 or 2 people, so the choice is not very large at the end of the day. So I think just a quarterly analysis and a heat map of demand should give us a good amount.
But don't you face a last mile issues at that point of time? Maybe that 2 aggregators or that 2 logistic partner will not going to send out the deliveries on that pin codes that others do, that the others are doing actually. Because the main problem here is the industry problem.
Correct.
So people like you can also sit with Flipkart, Amazon, Myntra and tell them कि यार हर बार ब्रांड को ही थोड़ी ना सारी चीज़ें करनी है, कुछ इंडस्ट्री को भी करना पड़ेगा.
Correct.
Because logistic industry, मैं 2015 से e-commerce देखता आ रहा हूँ, it is very difficult. मतलब what about the SPF claims? How can we settle down in a very efficient and a very quick way with the help of these marketplaces is very important.
We'll cover that, I think, in the third point. So I think just in the interest of time, I'll move to the next point, which is how do you salvage sellable inventory, right? So the main thing is whatever return comes in, what's the quantum of damage, how much can be re-inventorized, how much requires work, how quickly can that be turned around? So any best practices specifically around that in terms of getting inventory back in?
So I'll just share one thing that we have done, right, which has really helped us. So we are a manufacturer of our products, right? So along with that, we work with multiple vendors also. So what we did was, in every product, we started tagging the manufacturer code, right? Like we have assigned a code to every vendor, and it is actually with the wash label, that code is also attached. So when the return happens, so we get the return, right? We first do the SPF claim. Like basically in our ERP, we close the return, then we move it to either good inventory or bad inventory. So whatever is good inventory, it directly doesn't go to the warehouse. What happens is like it goes through a QC check again. If it is a RTO, we don't do anything with that. But if it is a RTV, what we do is like the product is open, checking system is there. So our QC teams members will be there in the return also. Then based on that, we do a measurement check. So if it is a small size, so what happens sometimes, a medium sized product will be tagged with an actual small, right? And you can never figure it out until and unless you do a measurement check. And what happens to that product if, say, a small is there, which is tagged with a medium, again you will sell it, again it will be returned, and it will go in an infinite loop, right?
Correct.
Until and unless you stop it, right? So what we did is we implemented a QC check there along with the code of the vendor, right? Now every return that happens, we look at if there are any manufacturing defects in that, and we tag it with the vendor. Now every month we collate that data, and then if certain vendors are there where the defect rates are very high, right? We first, explain them the thing, that what is the thing that is happening, and we even figured out certain things which were, very, very critical. Like there are certain products where, like jumpsuit, if you look at the crotch is something which is, if you don't, size it properly, it will never fit, right? So we figured out that there was problem with that during return. Not at the initial QC check, but during return. So that if you are able to do, and then what we are doing is like once we do the QC check, then there is a full refurbishment. Now in the refurbishment, it is not just pressing that we do. We have tailors also there, and the product, if requires a minor stitching, some buttons are missing, or minor anything, that is handled there itself, right? And after that, it gets pressed, and then a final product is again packed. The problem that we face here is that once it comes to the return center, like once it is refurbished, we have to tag every product with a bin number, right? So when we tag it, so we don't have any system to do it right now. What we do is manually write on top of the plastic bag the bin number, right?
You're not using any WMS or?
We are using, but this part we are not able to solve.
Okay.
Like how do we get the bin stickers for every product which is there?
But why do you need a bin sticker on the product? You need to just put the product in the bin
So
and capture it in the software, no?
Right, so we do it in a different manner. So where I looked at Mirza and other 3PL services, how you do, right? So basically in one bin, you can have multiple kind of product, right? But in our thing, what happens is like we allocate one-to-one mapping. Like one bin, only one product is there.
Same size also?
No, so like a rack will be there, small, medium, large, XL, like that, right?
Okay.
This is very inefficient because
the space utilization won't happen.
Yeah. I know. It is a big problem. So now we are trying to solve for this thing.
Okay.
But again, that overall that like QC check at return really helped us in understanding the quality of the vendors, and as well as improving the product, there.
So one more thing I've seen a couple of brands do is who use serialized inventory. So there, if a product goes out and it comes back in, I mean, it's already serial number, right? And if it goes back out again, if it comes back in a second time, it gets flagged. And then anything that comes back a second time is taken out. And that goes then for entire QC. So you can maybe reduce some QC costs by maybe doing serialization and only flagging those things which have come back a second time, back into the warehouse. So that will reduce your QC overhead a little bit, possibly. That's just one thought, yeah. Any other suggestions about, in terms of product loss, when it comes back, the damages, how are you all sort of solving for this? How are you all sort of squeezing the juice out of those returns that have come back to the warehouse?
All right. So ours is basically a franchise business. So most of these returns are B2B and mostly store returns, right? So we are doing QC at two levels. One is we have clear guidelines for our salespeople to be there while the packing is being done, so that the classification has to be done basis whether there's a good stock. ABC classification is done at the segregation is done at the store itself, and basis that only it is because there's a bulk return that is happening. So we do entire locking transportation, and it's sent back to the DC, where the task is reduced, which are B and C obviously has its own liquidation channel, so we salvage the value out of it. And A again goes through a second round of QC, because some of the things which might be claimed as A might not be able to go back. So there's a 2 rounds of QC that we're doing to actually ensure that the value is salvaged. And also ABC classifications and the different liquidation channels.
Ketan, since your product is an innerwear, right? You'll have a different set of challenges on return and salvages. Can you talk a little bit about that? Yeah.
Sure. So I'll talk about the brand Enamor, in which bras is the largest category, and every single bra has at least about 22, 23 sizes, at least 4 colors, so very complicated. Each bra is made up of at least 18 components, right? So with respect to your question which you just asked of how do you salvage if a damaged product comes in, and bras are typically categorized into padded, non-padded, wired, non-wired.
Correct.
That segregation is maintained at the warehouse, including at size level and color level. That's how you bring in efficiency when a return comes in. And typically, through our data observation, we've seen large sizes is where generally returns happen. And more often than not, the consumers don't know their sizes. So typically, purchasing happens in either 2 or 3 variants, and 1 or 2 comes back. In those large sizes, typically the cups are where the damages happen. But the other parts is where you can salvage. You know, hook and eye, straps, etc. is where refurbishment comes in, and you try and salvage that and recycle or reuse it.
How do you do that? You have the facility within the warehouse, you send it out, or what do you do?
It's within the warehouse, a segregation, a part of the warehouse where there is manpower put, which takes out usable parts and puts it back into circulation. So that's one step. And the first step which I mentioned about segregating the returns when they come in, it's very easy to spot and really find out whether it can be immediately put back into circulation or does it really require a full QC.
Got it. So, but in terms of sort of percentages of benchmarks, what is the acceptable percentage of, or what's the minimum percentage of salvage one needs to be able to do, right? If suppose you're getting 100 units back, is it 99, is it 98? What is that tolerance limit, and do any of you monitor that, right, in terms of what is that percentage?
We don't monitor, we just try and make the most of what can be reused.
Okay, got it. Anything else on the salvage side in terms of pain points around there that you can talk about?
One of the things is like SPF claim, whatever videos, whatever you do, we don't see more than 45% acceptance from marketplaces. I don't know what is your number there. 68%
is what we do right now.
Okay.
I can add something, something that we've done very, very lately, about a month and a half, 2 months. Typically, we are also the same level where you raise SPF claim, there's a query that is raised, and you don't reply within a stipulated amount of time, it's just auto-close, right? So one is monitoring that through a rigorous mechanism of whether the claim is being raised. Second, we've tried to tie up with a third-party service provider who's built a intelligent automation RPA kind of a solution, where once you raise the tickets, the RPA goes and downloads the tickets from respective sites, gathers data, pushes it back to our key account folks wherever response is not given, so that it's highlighted and flagged. So from a 45, we've been able to come to 65. And if you are able to fight with the platform within the stipulated amount of time, more often than not, we've seen they honor the commitment. So that RPA bit is helping us bridge that gap, because manually it is impossible for you to manage and monitor those number of tickets and go through and see what's happening, resolve the queries and so on.
So this tool keeps downloading and then automatically sends
sends emails to our respective account managers, Flipkart, somebody, Myntra, somebody, etc. They pitch in. If a video is asked, a video is uploaded to the warehouse. If they ask for a photo, if they ask for a XYZ EAN number, whatever, that's then uploaded, and then that whole thing keeps coming back. There is a review done once in 15 days. There's a weekly check done by the CAMs, and that's brought up in our quarterly JBP update discussions with the platforms as well, where the category managers or the senior higher-ups, we flag them that this is the SPF claims we raised, this is what we gave back as information when it was asked, this was settled, this was not settled, why so, and so on.
So the percentage of claims is what now? 65 you're able to get back or what?
Yes, 65% is what we're able to successfully get back the money. There's still 35 to go.
Right.
But that's where we are.
So the highest limit here is what, 68 we've hit?
Exactly the same thing we do in terms of the, because as he said that monitoring there and doing the follow-up, and which sometimes very difficult to get manually getting it done. Correct. So it's auto generated through, we have also implemented the same system, but also we have a large team who every day manages only monitoring that whether this is claim got approved or not. And there is also what we do whenever the returns comes, right? Returns has to be quickly productive. It has to go live, right? So particularly in our kind of a setup where warehousing is 4.5 lakh square feet, so there are multiple layers, there are multiple rows and all that. So whenever the put away happens, right? So normally put aways goes through the the processes that they will find out this row, this block, this floor. Right. So we have created one zone where the entire returns when you get processed goes into that zone. That zone always that area is empty. And immediately in that zone it will get put up, which is very near to the return table. Right. So within the moment the return get processed, within you can say half an hour, it will get put away there. And there is a team which keeps on doing from this area to the another area later on, but this inventory is live by that time. So we quickly make it live rather than spending any time on the put away process. So that's also we do.
Also on picking then, what we've done for a few brands is we do a similar thing. We put the returns in a separate area. Yeah. And then the picking algorithm, if there is a order, it first goes there. So that the return item goes out first. You all do that as well?
Yeah, no, we don't do that. We don't do that. So that's a new learning which we should implement. Yeah. So.
Okay, great. So again, back on claims. So 65, 68 is that. So what is it theoretically? Where can we get to? Can we get to 80? Can we get to 90? What is that number that is possible to achieve? And what will it take to get from, I think we've achieved 65, 68, I think we've understood that, but to go from 65 to 90, that's a big delta on the P&L. So what can we do to go from 65 to 90 or 80 or whatever? Anything more that can be done?
It's a learning process, right? Whatever, for us, we have keep on learning and implementing because we run the warehouses on our own. Right. So there is a lot of learning goes and there are a lot of discussions happen. So whatever the earlier when we are doing, it was he's 45%, we are 25%, right? So 25% to 68% journey we have traveled. Right. And of course there are a lot of things we are doing now, we are discussing doing in some, implementation of the RFID tag across. Starting from the production units to the warehousing everywhere. So maybe that will bring, I think, another level of efficiency. But really, I don't have an answer right now that how 68% to 90% journey, how we can travel it. But I will say that, as we are learning every day, we keep on implementing the things. There are a lot of things since we handle the warehousing directly. So a lot of time we spend on the floor. I think all the senior managers used to spend some time on the floor actually looking into that what exactly have. I personally, I have done the picking and the packing and the put away for good 7-8 days time. Every 6 months I do it personally. So we have a lot of learning there and we keep on implementing it. But right now I have no answers that how this 68% will go to 90%.
I think one of the things that we should do is basically claim more.
Claims? Claim everything.
The thing is that,
yeah, but do you get for whatever that is not actually valid, do you get money back for that? Is that possible?
No, it's not like that, but I'm saying that claim more as in if any kind of, thing is there, you should make sure that you are claiming. Means even if a tag is missing, right?
Correct.
You should claim.
Got it.
Because the thing is that they are also trying to game us.
Correct.
So we also have
So basically set the tolerance limit really low, right? Saying that nahi chalega nahi, kuch bhi nahi chalega. Everything is zero tolerance. Got
but
it.
usme bhi, again, not a fraud, but I'm just saying that
I
you need
understand.
to be more stringent on your QC.
Correct.
So that's one way of increasing the overall percentage.
Yeah. So I think we've covered a lot. I think we're just moving into the sort of last topic out here. So now, see, there are some of you who are using 3PL, some of you are running it themselves, right? And I think Shyam, you'll put us out of business if you keep running it yourself. so I want to learn from you so I can grow my own business. So the point here is, I think, there's obviously some amount of, so what is the value you think as a 3PL, right? What are some of the 3 services that you think, or 2 or 3 services that you think we can do as Emiza that will sort of make your life better, specifically around these 3 things we talked about, right? Which will then give you that comfort and confidence to sort of, outsource more or have more, this thing. So what do you think that we can do for you all on the return side? Growth hack into quick commerce. Just elaborate a little bit.
Put inventory in the 3PL, then put the inventory with quick commerce guys. Right. We are just dividing our inventory again and again. Right. So if you can figure out some sort of a way to work with Zepto and Blinkit, where the inventory still sits with the 3PL, and it still takes the order from quick commerce, I think there is a huge hack there. I don't know how it is possible, all of that. I think there is something there. Otherwise, currently, a part of 3PL business is moving to quick commerce.
Yeah, it is. But for us, it converts from a B2C to a B2B. Because we are now fulfilling a lot of POs for Zepto from our warehouse. So we still get the business, but it just changes shape. It changes
but
from a
in
B2C.
Long run,
it
might not. Like, you will become a mediator. Why would any brand send stocks to you and then send it to quick commerce?
No, I'll tell you why. Because we become a platform for not just quick commerce, right? Our inventory is exposed to everything. You're doing your dropship, Amazon, Flipkart, you're doing GT, you're doing MT. So you will always need a regional warehouse that can take care of all your requirements. And quick commerce is one part of it. Quick commerce will never be 100% of your business. It'll be 10, 20, maybe at best. But Amazon is still there, Flipkart, your own website is there. So that's why our strategy is being outside the city and fulfilling all of these sort of platforms within the city, right? So we're now coming out with same-day delivery. I think for a brand now, you have to have your own, your own website. You can't be reliant entirely on marketplaces, right? So if you have to have your own website, you have to compete on speed, right? So how do we enable same-day delivery all across India? So that gives you a leg to stand on with with this. But what else can you think on the claim side, or on the, what else do you think we can do for y'all, which will sort of make, your life easier,
So one of the things that we want, we desire to have, is basically as we will continue to run our own warehouse, right? Like the mother warehouse is always going to be our warehouse. There are multiple reasons behind it, but primarily if you look at because we are into fashion, right? There is a long tail of products which will be there for a long period of time, right? Storage fees and all will not make sense on that. That is one. Second is that we operate on a model where most of the factories are within 5 to 6 kilometer radius of our warehouse, right? So inwards become faster and everything, right? So that we will continue. But again, what we want to do is like, basically we are running our warehouse in a certain way, right? We want some expert to come in, right, and help us in running our warehouse in a more efficient manner. So that is one thing that we would, definitely want from, say, a partner like Emiza, where you can help us improve there. And second is that when we look at the overall, in future, when we are going to grow, we are not going to open our own warehouses in other states, right? Correct. It is always going to be 3PL there. So that is, again, in future, we will be needing, right? But from the mother warehouse point of view, how do we improve that, right?
Got it.
That's one thing.
No, that makes sense, yeah. On the claim side, I think most of the claims you are raising in-house, right? So if the 3PL takes care of the entire thing, right, from receiving it, identifying, raising the claim, is that a value to you, or would you still just prefer to raise the claim yourself, get the videos, and do it yourselves? That's...
Again, the point is like, so what is the percentage that you are at today? If you may just answer that.
So actually, we don't raise the claim. We raise it only for a few brands. We don't do it across the board, right? So we provide the data. So that's why on SPF claim management, there are 2 or 3 brands who are doing it. After we raise the claim, they take over from there. So we don't see the final outcome, right? Okay. So the question now is that, so there are some brands who are talking to us about taking an overall end-to-end outcome. But for us, how do we take responsibility for that? Someone says, boss, I will hold you at 60% or 65%. I can't take that kind of ownership, right? So what is it? So the question is, again, between just providing the information and just raising the claim, is that of no value, or you all prefer raising the claim and handling that yourself
No,
to
no, see,
create.
definitely if you are raising it, and it can be like a percentage of the claim that we
Yeah.
get,
Yeah.
you get a commission on that.
Yeah, that's a good
right?
thing, yeah.
So
So then we are incentivized to get you up to 65 or 68 or
Yeah,
whatever, yeah.
yeah, so
Got
if
it,
you
yeah. No, that's an interesting,
because
so
see,
it's a rev share model, yeah.
Yeah, kind of, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that is one thing that, see, definitely we want claims to be done, it's not our core business.
Correct.
We want somebody else to do it.
It's a pain, you should have to do
But
it,
the
yeah,
point
exactly.
is that the percentage has to be on a higher side, right?
Got it.
Means more than what we can get it ourselves.
Got it.
And it is like more like in an organized manner, a process has to be there, right? So if you have already cracked that bit,
correct.
Definitely, we'll be needing that kind of a
Got it.
service.
And on refurbishment specifically, because today you have to get the product back in, right? So refurbishment services, what kind of stuff do you all need on that front
So
that can
refurbishment, see the way we do the refurbishment, our wastage is very, very low because we have like tailors there to, so for that you need different kinds of thread, colors. I don't know if it is possible, but return center, so if you have 11 warehouses, like for return centers, maybe 4 return centers should be there. And then you should have more value-added services in those.
Okay.
Where you are actually not just repacking it in a plastic bag, but providing, like an overall service to get more.
So all returns go to that one facility, right?
Kind of,
So
right.
the forward goes from one warehouse, but then again, you have to spend to move their inventory back from that facility to the.
But the primary reason behind that is that if you want to have a return center with value-added services, right, like where actual stitching, button changes, all these things are happening, then you will be needing something like that. I don't know. Like
Yeah, got it.
Means if you want more products to be resellable.
Veena, in shoes, that's what's your challenge over there on that? Yeah.
I think a DIY kit
Mhm.
from the brand is a good direction. It will solve 80% of the problem.
A DIY kit for whom? For
For example, we do refurbishment ourselves. We pretty much know what's the nature of refurbishment.
Right.
And I think if a DIY kit is made by the brand and given to a 3PL
Right.
company, saying, hey, this kit you will require for shoes, I'll give you one, you replicate.
Got it.
I think that's a decent, it's like a shaving kit, right?
Right.
It's like a makeup kit.
Correct.
You need all these basic things. But as he said, 20% of the time, the repair or the refurbishment could be far more complicated. And that you just have to consciously say, no, this is beyond me.
Correct. And then just maybe send that once in a while back to the brand to fix it up there, yeah.
This trying to be the brand technical expert.
I don't think that's possible, yeah. It's not possible, yeah, I agree. No, good, excellent. I think we've got some great insights. So I think we're almost at a close in terms of time. Anything else that you all would want to share? Yeah.
And since there are founders in this group, so while we are discussing in terms of how do we ensure better returns for a better profitability, but is there a way that we ensure that the amount of returns we get, that can be lessened? We understand that, yes, if you are in a business, you cannot say that I'll have 0 returns. That may not be possible. But is there a way that we have a benchmark or work towards something? And since I'm not from that side of the business wherein I have full understanding in terms of the returns and all of these things, but from a brand perspective and from a consumer perspective, I'm saying, and from an organization's perspective, is there a way that while there are quality controls, reviews, checks that happen, but normally a returns happens when, say, either there's a difference in what you see and order and what you get, be it in terms of your size or design or the feel of the product or whatever it is. Is there a way that the organization or the brand is able to maybe communicate better specifically and be able to put it out in a space that the kind of returns that are minimized because people do not find the need to go in for a return? Is there a way, and is there are organizations looking forward to achieving some kind of a
benchmark or something?
Benchmark, because that also, it's like rather than having medicine, is there a way of prevention?
Prevention, yeah. No, I think what you're saying is very valid. So I think when it returns, you have to put them into two buckets: controllable factors and non-controllable factors, right? So non-controllable factors are consumer preference, could be multiple number of things. So maybe it'll be interesting. What are 2 or 3 controllable factors that are there, that are in your hands that you can do to reduce the return? That'll be great to.
One, of course, which he mentioned about the tag loop thing, which is one. Yeah. What we are trying to do is 2 fronts: monitor, work with your platforms, marketplaces closely to flag where you see perpetually returns happening. And most marketplaces have now started doing that. They flag customers. If you return a single product multiple times, they stop showing you, or they say that you can't buy this product. That's one way. Second is education, in particularly our kind of a category where the consumers don't know their sizes. How do you communicate better? So we're working with, say, an Amazon or a Myntra. X person is looking for a Y type of outerwear. You know their history, what they're buying. Recommend basis that this is the most suitable size for you. And hence trigger them to purchase that particular kind of a size so that you minimize. Of course, it can't be 100% foolproof, but to some extent it will reduce. Yes.
So one of the key things that we do, so we get data from a product level, right? Now see, at an average, our customer return rate, so there is 2 parts to it. One is the RTV and the RTO. So RTV is in the range of 33% for our brand in marketplace, right? Now, when you look at a website, it is around 12 to 13%. So one delta is always there in marketplace versus your own website, right? Anything between 15 to 20% delta is there. Now, the returns that happen in Myntra, right? There will be products which will be having a return rate of say 60%. There will be products which having a return rate of 20% also, right? So what we do is like benchmark data we get from Myntra. Means this data is available for the brands, right? Now, when you get the benchmark data, we know that this particular category, this particular price range, the return rate should be 31%, right? Now, if our return rate is more than 10%, right? Means delta is more than like 31, it's more than say 41% for us. So what we do is the replenishment of that product when it happens, we make changes in the pattern and the fabric of the product and make sure that the return rates are reduced in that. If even after doing that, if the return rate is not reduced, right, we discontinue the product. But we have seen that there are certain products as high as 20% we were able to reduce the return rate. So there were products like say 45% return rate. After making changes in the fabric and the pattern, we were able to reduce it to 20%. But this is something that means only some brand which has control over manufacturing only can do it, right? But if you do that, then you can overall reduce the return rate. And another thing is that you have to analyze. So there are times when some products are there which sell very well, right? And as brands, we tend to continue selling it even with higher return rate because at least the top line is increasing, right? But the thing is that we need to be very strict on those things, that even if it is selling well, if the return rate is high, right, you need to know when to cut it. Means it's very difficult to do it, but you have to do it. And one more thing that can be done is like always do a analysis on the return rates. Whatever your bottom 20% means highest return rate products are there, straight away discontinue those products. Continuously discontinue the products. We have done these kind of things and we have seen an improvement of around 3 to 4% in the last 3 years if you compare. So it's very difficult to do it, but that's the only thing from our brand we can do. And from marketplaces point of view, I don't know why it is the case, but D2C and marketplace, because they are not penalized. If return is happening, right, we have to pay for everything, right? So the thing is that how can that return rate reduce from the marketplaces point of view? They have to take some, strict things. Means they have done many things, but I think you have to do more because there is a delta of 15-20% between a marketplace and own website, right?
One last thing I should say, the returns which you can monitor is of course, whatever Alok has said, very, very valid points. And one thing you keep on monitoring is the rating of your product, right? Review and rating. What happens that if you can continuously keep on monitoring, and if there is a certain products where ratings are low, just do a reverse QC on those products, that what is wrong with that. Maybe size is wrong, maybe the quality, maybe the way the perceived value you created in the photo shoot and the way your products are not getting matched. There is some, so if you can keep on continuously monitoring your rating and reviews, and on the lower rating, if you can just look at that product and keep on doing the corrections, that will also help you reduce the return.
And that is 100% of the times it happens. This, if you read the reviews, right? Yes. You can see many. So you don't even have to do the QC. The customer is only telling you that the photo and the customer is the biggest QC manager. They say that the photo color and the product is not matching. This is one complaint that happens a lot of time because photo shoot is not really under our control, right? At times. So that is one thing that you should definitely.
It sounds like we are more in data science than in fashion, actually. Yeah.
Talked about
Yeah.
how to kill it at the source itself.
Right.
Eliminate all the defects so that the return doesn't happen. So in B2B, what we had done is basically we analyzed. Yeah. We did an analysis of whether it will a more reactive stage means if once it has already happened, how to eliminate the return process. What we can, that is basically how not to incur the cost of the reverse logistics. So we used to analyze whether the cost of reverse logistics is higher than the compensation or the settlement claim that they're making. If they're saying if the settlement is lower than the cost of the reverse logistics, might as well go ahead and say that, okay, we will not pick it up. We'll give you a discount coupon or something of that sort so that keep it with you. Okay.
Yeah, that's a good idea, actually. Yeah.
So in the case.
Yeah.
Right.
The customer has no cost for returning. So we have seen this trend in footwear especially. People are ordering 2-3 pairs while they want to purchase only one. They see which is the best fit, what they like, and just send back the remaining. So one is incentivizing, giving extra discount, or wherever we have stores, we again give them an extra discount, but only if they themselves handle the return and get to the store.
Got it. Very interesting. Great. So I think I want to thank all of you for your participation. It's been very insightful, and and we look forward to staying in touch with you. And yeah, thank you so much. Thank you.